Welcome to the Gloria Show, where personal growth takes center stage. Founder and CEO of Personal Dynamics, Gloria Sloan, shares practical strategies to enrich your life, elevate your mindset, and empower your journey. As she reminds us, ultra-successful people never stop learning, reaching, and growing. Get ready for fresh insights and uplifting inspiration. Here's your host, Gloria Sloan.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 50th Gloria Show. Thank you so much for joining me today to help me to celebrate this wonderful milestone. This is my 50th episode. And I'm not so much a numbers counter to talk about or boast about how many numbers and shows that I've had, but for me, it's a milestone because it's so different. I know that this 50th show brings to the table more empowerment, and in some way, over the year and a half, 2 years that I've been doing the show, I do know that there has been some impact on someone. And for me, that is the most important thing, is to share that. And so thank you so much for all of you for tuning in and listening in to the 50th Gloria Show. I am so excited again to be here with you. Now, before I get started, I want to tell you about how I am helping to celebrate the 50th show. I have a giveaway. Yes, I have a giveaway that if you're listening or watching and you want to go on your social media site, Facebook, whatever your preference is, tag me with 50 of the words or ways that you know that the Gloria Show has helped you. If you do that and tag me, what I'm going to do is once we get them all together, I am going to give away a set of books. Look, I even tried to put a bow on it. A set of books that you've been hearing me talk about, Life Skills for the Journey and the Companion Workbook. I want to gift those to people who tag me. It's a challenge that we're going to put on. So if the Gloria Show has been empowerment for you, just put it on Facebook and tag me so that you can be in the challenge to win a set of the books. I'm just so honored to do that. Thank you so much. So now, as we get ready for our amazing guest today, Neo Caro, and she is coming in heavily equipped and prepared to speak with us about the falsehood of business and how leaders are conditioned to lose their authenticity. And it's happening all the time, whether you're in a business for yourself, whether you're in corporate America or you work for an organization, you're always pressured to be a leader at some stage. And it's so often to lose it. And you can't really be your true, real self because it's like you're conditioned to be an acceptable leader, but it's not authentic. Well, today we're going to hear from an expert who is a transformational voice in healthcare, leadership empowerment, financial healing. She's just packed with a lot of good joy notes, I'd like to say, that she's going to bring to the table. So please help me welcome my 50th amazing guest on the Gloria Show, Neo Caro.
Hello. Thank you.
Hello there. Thank you so much for joining me. I know you've been traveling all over the place, and I'm not even going to ask where you've landed today to be on the show. I just know I just know you've been on the go, but being global, that's what you do. But thank you so much for squeezing us in and putting some time in to come on the show and to just talk about leadership and the how you can just lose it just because you're put into a box almost. So would you just give us some highlights? First of all, a little bit more about you. I only just touched bases just a little bit, but I want you to share with the audience what you would like for them to know, and then just follow up with getting into more of this, how leaders are conditioned to lose their authenticity. You do that for me?
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say, Gloria, thank you so much for giving me the honor of being your 50th guest. And, you are very humble in stating that you're not counting numbers, but reality is most podcasts only last 20 episodes. And just the fact that you have given this channel an opportunity and your people an opportunity to grow with you, to learn and expand their leadership journey. Thank you for gracing us with impact. And I just wanted to start with that.
Oh, great.
As
Thank you.
far as about me, I was in corporate America for about 35 years in the healthcare sector, everything from consulting to being a senior vice president of a large health system and many other points in the journey. And as I grew in corporate America, I found that I was growing for someone else's vision of me.
Hmm.
And in doing that and having some trauma that happened from a health crisis, I realized I needed to find out who I was, enter into my own presence. And that is when I started my business, which not only helps healthcare organizations find humanity again by increasing the services and the patient engagement that they do, but also helping their leaders and helping their financial balance line so that they can provide better access to care. I also do leadership, as you stated, and go around the country and speak and put together workshops, board retreats, and most of all, my writing. Joy Notes is a
Yeah.
daily post that I do on LinkedIn, plus a newsletter. I'm on Substack, and I have two books that I have. Been blessed of given the opportunity to write and share. And it's Joy Notes, Balancing Trauma with Triumph. And
Right.
we're going to talk about how all of that came about
Yeah.
because it is part of the leadership journey.
Please do. Please do. I have so many questions that I do want to ask. And if you don't mind, can I just jump right in and start it? Because there's so much to learn about you and your work and what you do globally. But how is is acceptable leadership limiting our leaders from achieving their true potential? Because you know, we work so hard, or the people are out there really struggling with being leaders, in my opinion, today. For one thing, they don't know whether it's an organization or corporate or even being self employed. You don't know how long you're going to be in either three, either one, so there's a challenge. But it's limiting leaders from being their true selves to do that. So how is it limiting leaders? What's the problem
Yeah.
there?
You know, the thing with acceptance leadership, it's rooted in fear. And what do I mean by that? When you are trying to be accepted, you already are walking in with fear that you won't be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? If you think about it, that's an accepting leader.
Mm-hmm.
That is a leader that has gotten a role. And when they got the role, they are so excited because they did the work to get the role, but they don't know and they don't feel that they belong in the role, even though they've done everything right, put in the work, put in the time, yet they're sitting in the room and they don't believe that they belong in that room.
Right. That is so true. So
But I
true.
will tell you why they don't believe they belong in the room. And the reason is because they are not in tune with their own presence. They have basically followed someone else's script to what leadership is.
Hmm.
And when they're in that room, they are just trying to make sure that they are filling a void of the room. So you have two things that happen in that room. Either they stay so quiet because they don't want to make a mistake, or they rabble and they just don't stop talking and trying to show their intelligence. But who are they really? And that's what we spend our time is understanding who you are so that you can lead and create a culture of continuous improvement and a culture of collaboration. And then you hit success. But as
Mm,
long as you're following somebody else's image, you are not able to be your full potential self.
that is so true. And we've talked about imposter syndrome here on the show before. As a matter of fact, we've had a few guests who really just are just explaining what it is. A lot of people have been in it and didn't really realize or know what it was, and that it was hindering them from being the leader that they wanted. And it has driven many people to leave their jobs and to do other things because they were so caught up into being an imposter and not being able to display their true self. So, how do we embrace authentic leadership? How can we embrace that?
You know, it really starts by interviewing yourself, taking that step to finding out who you are. If you were to interview yourself, what are the values that you have? What do you really bring to the table? And what do you believe is important? When you start breaking yourself down and looking in that mirror a lot deeper than surface, then you're able to fall into your authenticity. I'm going to give you a story of how my journey, and maybe this will help the audience. Uh, I got in my book, Joy Notes, I talk about a catastrophic event of trauma that happened to me physically. And after two cardiac arrests and multiple different things that happened in the journey, 2 months after coming out of the hospital, there I was, and I received a phone call from my boss. And our hospital system was going through a major system change. And she says, "We need you." Now, I was on convalescence. But here's that brain of the leader of being a pleaser,
Yeah.
not being authentic to my reality that I needed rest, that I needed. I thought that I was not a leader if I did not get up from convalescence. And I'm going to tell you, I got up and I went to this meeting and I had a feeding tube, I had a colostomy bag, I was walking with a cane. Now, if you think about it, it's like, lady, are you crazy? But no, I thought to be accepted, I needed to put myself behind and do what the organization, in my belief, expected of a leader.
Wow.
So I went and I helped in the meeting and I got a lot of things done for them in that meeting. But at the end of the day, when my husband picked me up, I had a major setback in my health journey because I had no business being there. Now, that's an extreme example, but I want everybody to take a step and think about whether it was you just had a baby and you came back too soon,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was a situation that you had a death in the family and you didn't take the time to grieve,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you came in because you thought that you were less of a leader if you didn't come in and engaged in your life. You see, if you're in a situation that you're not allowed to be a full human, then you cannot be your best self.
It's true. That's very true. And like you say, unfortunately, you were put in a very extreme situation. But as a life coach, I have heard so many reasons why people they burn out behind struggling uh, not being able to be themselves, and so they're in what's called acceptable leadership role, and they ultimately become burned out, and it leaves them flawed in some way, and it's a bigger challenge and struggle when they step out in the world to really at that point try to be themselves, because they're just so still caught up, and it takes I want to call it, I guess, a healing process that people go through when they leave out of that situation. And I know with you having that transformational background with helping people to find that path, but as an employee, people who do have people who work for them, how can you tell if your leadership is creating a culture for your employees to be, you know, an authentic leadership roles? How can you kind of
Yes.
tell that?
If your employees cannot make a decision without checking with you first, you're not leading, you're controlling.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a sign that you're basically following what you're learning from the top.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not actually creating employees that are critical thinkers,
Mm-hmm.
and that you need that codependency in order to feel validated. So that's one. Two, if you are in a situation that your team does not feel safe asking you questions, or basically feels that it's not an open conversation, it's not a collaborative space,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to look in the mirror and say, what is going on? Everybody wakes up in the morning when they have a job saying, I want to do a good job. Nobody wakes up in the morning saying, I want to do the minimum. If your employees are doing the minimum, it's because there's no trust
Mm-hmm.
that you're supporting them, that you're standing by them. And I'm a storyteller. I'll give you a story about there was a time that I was in a meeting in the boardroom, and I'm doing a presentation. And in the middle of the presentation, there was an executive leader that didn't like my presentation. And because I was changing the way it was always done. And as you well know, change can be very negative to many people.
Yeah.
So he didn't like the fact that I was changing what he was happy with. And he got very boisterous and out of control. My boss stayed quiet. Now, why did he stay quiet? He stayed quiet because that leader was a CEO and he was a CFO. And how does he tell him, hey, stop it? Now, if he's a good leader, it wouldn't matter. It's just decorum. That's not the way you behave in a meeting. But he just stayed quiet because he was in fear of his own position. The facilitator that was facilitating this meeting, he stood up and he said to my boss, you need to stand up for her. And he did.
Yeah.
And the good news is that everybody in there was going through leadership training. So even the CEO that misbehaved learned from that event. But here's the deal: fear of losing your position can make it so you don't know who you are anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I will tell you, I have always been the type of person that I need to be who I am
Mm-hmm.
first, because my God's going to provide all my needs.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to ever be scared of not using my voice in the right way.
And
And
that's what.
and as a leader, people need to trust that you're going to do the right thing.
And you have to display that. And I know when I've had full staff and when I've had staff, I knew that they were looking to me for a certain level of leadership. So when you are a CEO, or you're running your own company or someone else's organization, whatever you're in the position of doing, you have to make sure that you're doing it authentically, the right way, and doing it from your heart, what you know. And you have to be allowed to do that. And I can remember, like you say, the stories of when I would be asked, well, can we do that? I like to bring out the real true in people. And I'd like to say, what is your idea? So as leaders, we have to ask them, what's your idea? And saying, you were displaying that in the boardroom, and you just needed some backup. But I'm saying, as a leader, we have to do that. We have to allow our employees and those, who are at the table looking to us like, what are you going to do? Are you going to help me out? So I think that story is well taken, in that when you're in the boardroom, because so many people are in the boardroom and they're just unable to be authentically who they are. They're following a mold, a role, and they're watching this person. And everybody's scared because, people scared of being demoted, losing a job, their position, or being cut out. And so I understand the reasoning why, but let me ask you, what suggestions would you give an employee who is working in that kind of environment where authentic leadership isn't practiced? And if they're trying to change the culture, of that within the company or the organization, what suggestions, what would you suggest that they do?
It's all about small steps. Now, if you're in an organization that truth in the boardroom is not welcomed, then you need to have those meetings before the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
You
The
need
meeting before the meeting. I've heard of those
absolutely.
before.
You need to start. Leadership is about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a culture that basically is a very stoic culture, or a culture that is in stress, which I think that American companies today are in that situation. There's so much uncertainty, and leadership is based on moving things forward and having action in uncertainty. But many companies actually freeze. So if you have ideas, if you have areas that you need collaboration, you need to develop those relationships. And I also want you to understand that you need to go into relationships with curiosity. Do
Mm-hmm.
not assume you know what the other person is going to say. Too many of us have the meeting by ourselves in our brain before they walked into the meeting.
Yeah.
And what that does, it actually gives you this bent up energy of you're coming in ready for the fight when the person has no idea what your topic is yet.
Well, I tell you, this is getting even more interesting and more interesting as we, pursue this conversation. Let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to pick up on that note. But you're right. So many people are just there in fear, but they need to be allowed to be able to show that. So let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to pick up on that note.
Have you tuned in to the hottest personal development podcast streamed live every other Tuesday by the incredible Gloria Sloan? If you're ready to grow, elevate, and upgrade your life, then The Gloria Show is your ticket to success. Gloria believes ultra-successful people never stop reaching for new heights, learning new skills, and finding true fulfillment. If you are looking for a fresh, informed perspective on life, The Gloria Show is here to lift your spirits and tackle the challenges standing in the way of your success. Join Gloria bi-weekly as she brings her energy, insight, and over 3 decades of experience in business management and personal growth to help you unleash your power and transform your life. From personal development and career transitions to self-improvement and leadership, Gloria covers it all with practical advice and powerful resources. Laugh, cry, and be inspired as you learn how to elevate yourself to new heights. Whether you're looking to become healthier, happier, or more skillful, Gloria's got you covered, so why wait? Tune in to The Gloria Show every other Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and start your journey to becoming the best version of you. Don't miss out on the ultimate guide to personal and professional growth. Listen bi-weekly and let Gloria Sloan help you upgrade your life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back again. And thank you so much again for being on the 50th episode of The Gloria Show. I welcome back my guest for today, Neo Caro, and we're talking about authentic leadership. And I had some thought as before we went to break, we were in the conversation of what employees can do to step up to kind of let it be known that, look, I'm not able to do this in my own self. I want to be able to produce. I want to be able to do this. And there's a struggle. And you were about to give, I think, some very good tips and information in terms of how an employee can do that without feeling like, that they're going to immediately be pointed a finger at. Who do you think you are coming in here with these ideas? You're going to do this, you're going to do that. Help us with that, Neil.
Reality is every single time you have a conversation with your leader, it has to be about the benefit to the organization and to that leader. So the way you phrase things, you could say anything in multiple ways. So when you're coming up with your idea, make it so that it's an idea that's going to be a win for the team, a win for the organization, and a win for the leader. Because what your goal is to get that leader to listen. And people listen when you is in front of the sentence.
Mm.
So it's very important that when you phrase things, you phrase them in a way of you're going to win because what you're doing is wonderful. And here's something that I just found out that can help in what you're putting together. So you're giving them something to help them move forward, and it's a win for them. So always understand that if you start with me, you just lost the battle.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I like what you said something earlier when we were talking about how employees go into the meeting. You said they have the meeting with themselves, but it's in their head.
Mhm.
They don't, they have all these ideas, they have everything. Oh, and unfortunately, they come out of that meeting sometime and say, "Oh, I wish I had said this, or I wish I had done that," and and they don't. So when that happens, again, they fall right into that trap. And so, is it is it a leadership style that is missing, do you
Yeah,
think?
I think it's, I right before we went to break, mentioned the word curiosity.
Mhm,
And good leadership is curious. Good
mhm,
leadership wants ideas, welcomes ideas, and most importantly, is a good listener. You can't lead without listening. There's something so wonderful about when you have a leader that is not only present, but engaged. A lot of people try to be present, but as they're present, they're playing double dutch.
mhm.
They're in there, but they're waiting to say the next word, waiting for their turn to speak. That's not being present.
It's
Being
true.
present is listening, understanding, and being curious about what that person said, asking a question for further clarification and awareness, validating that
Mhm,
person's situation, vision, emotions,
yeah.
and then engaging in your thoughts. If you haven't validated my thoughts, then why would I be interested in what you have to say?
And I want to share this with you and just kind of ask your input on it. In talking with so many people who are on different levels of job, we're talking about leadership. We talked about the CEOs, the CFOs, of people who are in the boardroom, but unfortunately, there are just the regular everyday workers, the everyday employee who, whatever it is that they're doing, they may not be in corporate America. They may be just in just regular a layman's job or blue collar, whatever it is. And this is for male and or female, whomever. They're just a normal worker and they're stuck still with this syndrome. And I really believe that. And I have found as a life coach that these are so many people who would really, really like to do better, excel, have more, go higher places, but they're stuck because they don't know how to get out of the mold that they're in with being silent into a certain leadership because they're watching it. They're at the bottom almost, and they're watching it trickle down all the way down from the top. And they're saying to me, how? Where do you start when you're in this unfortunate role? They're not technically in a leadership role at this point, but they want to be, but they've still got to address all this falsehood. They're not still not able to work as the person they want to be. Is that do you understand what I'm getting
Oh
at?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, Here's the thing: you start with the little, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Your attitude is 99% of the situation when you are, just starting. If you have an attitude that's the company sees is positive, is willing to volunteer for learning and to engage in projects, you start becoming that go-to person.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about it is your frustration is not other people's frustration. So when you show up, be intentional about how you show up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are people that they wear everything on their face. And what happens is their stress is on their face. So now, no, the leader doesn't feel even comfortable coming to them because they don't want to deal with their attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So in reality, you have to smile even when it hurts.
Yeah,
You have to understand that your feelings matter, but in the boardroom, they really don't.
that's true.
What matters is the presence that you have in that room. Your calmness is a secret power. Your ability to bring clarity to a room with your energy, that does not have a level attached to it. Those are skills that will take you extremely far. And if you look at leaders that have started at the bottom ranks,
Mm-hmm.
those are the skills that brought them there. People saw them as that's a calm person. That's someone that we can see in being front facing. That's a person that I would have at my meeting because they're going to listen, they're going to critically think of solutions, and they're going to be able to execute them. So you need to act like the leader you want to be before you are that leader.
Yeah, you got to start acting like that. And you're right. People are leaders, can managers can recognize this, and that's why it's easy for them to identify with the employees as to whether or not they're leadership material, so to speak. And those are the ones that they can start grooming. And sometimes it's just simple things. Well, what do we need to do? How do we need to upgrade your skill level to do things? And it's what I call nurturing and cultivating the inside to be able to move up, into a company or organization. But that is very good. I love the way you put that. You have to really think that power through. and be able to have the conversation and talk it through and be able to identify that person's struggle and challenges. And if we could just get the employees now to feel bold and brave enough to be able to be encouraged to say that, because I talk to so many people and they are totally literally just afraid to authentically be able to have the conversation. It's unfortunate that someone would work in a group or an organization or for a company and have that fear, but a lot of that is still out there,
Yeah, and
unfortunately.
I think people need to understand the word authentic doesn't mean that you are having a struggle with your organization about your perceived respect
Okay.
or disrespect.
Okay.
Do understand that there is cultural issues within your organization
Mm-hmm.
of the way leaders communicate. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you can't change the way your boss communicates, but what you can do is definitely know your reaction to it.
Reactions to it.
Okay, so here's the deal. I know my worth. Start with knowing your worth.
It's true.
All right. I know my standards. I know the standards that I have, and they are above whatever someone can place on me. So when you act a fool with me, that's on you.
Mm-hmm.
That is not me. I do not need to give you back that same behavior because guess what? I'm smarter than that.
And it's your
And
values.
yeah, and my values
Yeah.
say no, I do not behave in that manner. So when we have, our young leaders, they get stuck on this thing of this person disrespected me.
Yeah.
Guess what? Wake up. In life, people will disrespect you. It's
Oh yeah.
how you react to that
That to it
disrespect.
is something different. Yeah. And I think it's as workers, people who employees, they have to learn that and it's unfortunate they have to stay there long enough to feel that. And so sadly, it could be even a job that they don't even want to be in, but they're there for whatever economic reasons. But even at that, you still have to display a certain persona about your values. Well, listen, before we go, I have a couple of things that I really still want to run by you. The joy notes. You know, I have been following that. It's balancing the trauma with the triumph. Talk about that for a minute and, explain to the listeners how they can follow the joy notes, because I've been following the joy notes and you post them every day and it's inspiration, it's encouragement.
Joy Notes started by questions that I received, as I was doing on stage speaking. And people were like, how do I get more information? How do I, just balance my presence, who I am as a leader?
Hmm.
And how can I get some good guidance? And every single day, I actually come up with the topic after my personal meditation. And I do my personal meditation, and, a topic will come up because my point is that it needs to resonate with someone. And I
Hmm.
look at what's going on. I feel what is the issue that would best resonate. Joy Notes is a daily post, and it basically is focused on growth and leadership,
Hmm.
personal
Hmm.
leadership. And the personal leadership is understanding who you are as a leader before you lead.
Hmm.
Wednesdays is dedicated to how you lead your team. And then every other, and the rest of the week is designated for personal growth and understanding your joy, your gratitude, and just how do you be a full person.
That is so good.
And, the book came from understanding that everybody needs to have stories about how you made it from difficult situations into the triumph. So the book goes through not only my journey, but five other journeys, because guess what? We need to see it in many lenses. And joy is in everything that we do.
Hmm.
We just need to seek it out.
To seek it out. Mm.
And
So
yeah,
so the book helps in the personal life by by being able to follow those notes, and
yes.
it's like the trauma and the triumph. When I saw that, trauma and the triumph, and it's all from, I guess, a personal experience.
Yeah, the
You
book is it's really life journeys and examples of the way that life is not going to be perfect. And you're going to have some tough times, but that doesn't limit you. It makes you stronger. It gives you the opportunity to learn. It gives you the opportunity to rise. And that is what the book is providing. It's providing a guide to take your trauma and bring it to triumph and joy.
I just love that because hey, I've written about life skills for the journey, so I know when I hear of someone's triumph, and how they've gone through trauma, I can relate to that because it's all in the skill level. Well, Neil, is there anything else before I let you go that you would like to share with the audience? I know that we talked about the joy notes, and I know you're working on other books and other things, and who knows where you're speaking in the world next or whatever's going on with you. But before I let you go, just take a couple of minutes and leave the audience with some tips or anything, and how they can contact you or how they can find your writings and whatever's going on. Just as we wrap up, if you could take a minute just to do that before I let you go.
Absolutely. Well, something that's really exciting, uh, Joy Notes is being released in Spanish on October 8th. And that is to help my Latina community in
Hmm.
making sure that they also get the wisdom in a language in their native tongue. And I'm really excited about this and spending some time in many churches, letting young women know that they can rise above whatever they think is the top because it's limitless. And also, we have on Thursday, I'll be speaking in Chicago at Becker's, and there's several other speaking engagements that will come. So please follow me on LinkedIn, and you will get that information as it happens. Please follow me on LinkedIn under at Neobis Cairo, and that's where you get your joy notes on a daily basis, and also subscribe to my newsletter and you can also see me on Facebook, Neobis Cairo, and Instagram, and Substack also. So lots of good things coming out. We have a great deal of fun things that will happen between the end of 2025 and the beginning of 2026. Um, and I'm just excited about standing beside people like you, Gloria, that are making an impact. And as we are empowering, raising up women so that they can know that maybe you stumbled, maybe it's uncomfortable today, but
Yeah.
honey, that's just for a moment. It's going to get better.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That just warms my heart because, we all can come to the table at that point with this, and we can all be in our own personal boardroom space and bring it together collectively. Women like you and like me who are reaching out and letting others know that you can be embraced with all of the hugs and of information that is out there, and you have a voice. We have a voice, and that's what I'm committed to, and I know that you are, to putting that voice out there so that they do know there are platforms where they can go to reach out to the social media websites and to all of the information that's been presented. go there and find it. And, she's got all kinds of good stuff. And so we're going to stay in touch and, come back to see us again sometimes. Do
Be my
that.
pleasure.
Okay.
Anytime.
Safe travels to you, my friend. Thank you for
Thank you
coming.
so much.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a break and I'm going to be back with you as again, more follow up, exciting 50th episode for the Gloria Show. We're going to take a break and I'll be back in a minute.
Are you growing in the direction of your aspirations? Did you know your life's journey is shaped by the choices you make today? Now is the time to invest in yourself to grow, elevate, and upgrade your life. In Life Skills for the Journey, Gloria Sloan offers a transformational guide to unlocking your full potential. Blending practical tools, inspirational wisdom, and proven life skills, this book empowers you to take control of your future with confidence and clarity. From decision-making to self-discovery, from vision to action, this book is your blueprint for personal growth. And now, you can go deeper with the Life Skills for the Journey Companion Workbook, a powerful tool filled with practical exercises, reflective prompts, and engaging challenges designed to help you apply these principles to your own life. Your personal development is your life. It's your evolution. Take the next steps in becoming the best version of yourself. Your journey starts now. With Life Skills for the Journey and its companion workbook, it's time to invest in yourself and lead the life you were meant to live. Available now on Amazon.
Thank you again for joining me today on the 50th episode of The Gloria Show. And again, I want to ask you if you would like to receive and get the giveaway of a set of books that you just saw in the commercial. I am giving those books away to anyone who goes with the challenge on your social media website. Just tag me on your site with 50 words of what the Gloria Show means to you and has done for you over the last couple of years, or just however long you've been listening to it, even if it's just been a few episodes. I'd like to know that. And you will be in the challenge to receive a set of books, but you got to tag me because we have to know that you did really send it to us so that I can have it. So do that and get in the challenge. I would love to share a set of books with you because, as you saw in the commercial, I do know that that would be a good step in the right positive direction for someone who is looking to upgrade and invest in themselves. And you really have to do that. And be honest with you, the set of books, believe it or not, when I looked at it and I thought about it, it's worth the $50 almost for both the books. And so, be encouraged to do that. And just tag me on Facebook to let me know that you came up with the 50 words of what the Gloria Show has meant to you. And before I go, I just want to also ask you that if you're watching me on YouTube or whatever, please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to all the channels that you're watching me on, because I want to continue to be in your presence. I want to continue to offer and be available to you for us to engage in conversations with anything else that you would like to see on the show. We do have a lineup of other people that we're bringing in for personal development enhancement. And this is for men and women. We want to be able to share the word and the works of how we operate and what we're doing in a full community. A community of people who are really, really interested in investing and elevating themselves. And, in one of the chapters in the book, I talk about your future self. And I keep talking about that because now is the time to start looking at your future self. And in Life Skills for the Journey and the workbook, there's a whole chapter that addresses that with information that is so helpful to you. So please subscribe to all the channels and like me and let me know in the 50-word challenge what the Gloria Show means to you so that you can receive the giveaway of the set of books. And then let me know if there's anything else that you would like to hear about on The Gloria Show, because we believe that ultra successful people never stop reaching for new heights, learning new things. And yes, you hear me talk about it. And if you heard the show last week, I talked to you about why I wrote the book in the first place, because I do believe that learning is ongoing. It's continuous at any stage, whether you're retired, thinking about retiring, already in a situation where you want to leave a job and do something different, or you're looking to expand and grow in a different direction at whatever level you are in life. We talk about those things on the Gloria Show. And that's what I want to do. I want to give you more encouragement to be and do whatever it is that you want to do. You can do it. You can do it. So listen, thank you again so much for helping me to celebrate the 50th episode of The Gloria Show. Thank you from the depths of my heart. And until next time, remember, every other Tuesday at 2 o'clock, continue to grow, continue to learn, continue to invest in yourself, and continue to enjoy the fulfillment of life. Until next time, goodbye for now.
You've been listening to The Gloria Show. Be sure to check out www.gloriasloan.com for more tools, strategies, and inspiration. And don't forget to connect with Gloria on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Until next time, stay inspired, stay motivated, and keep moving toward your best self.